like how to create a temporary table space and then how to change the user's default temporary table space. Or we'll also see there are certain commands which will be interlinked. Say today's topic, what will be we'll be creating a temporary table space, and then we'll be creating a user, and we'll see how the user is getting associated with a default table space as well as a default temporary table space. And finally, we'll be seeing how to create something called a big file or big data file table space. Fine. So the first question, we discussed about the temporary table space. So how it will be finding out what is the default temporary table space for a database? Okay, there is something called a default temporary table space is there, and also we will be able to find out how to find out the undo table space for a database. To find out the undo table space for a database, we can issue the command show parameter undo. Okay, here you can see that undo table space name is undo tbs1. Okay, so it also means that the database undo table space is being defined at the database parameter level. Am I clear here?
Yes.
Okay, but the temporary table space, there is no parameter called show parameter temp. So there is no instance level or database level parameter which will be specifying your temporary table space. So temporary table space information is available from a data dictionary view, that is database underscore property. Okay, so describe database underscore properties. Okay, so we can see that database underscore properties is a data dictionary view which will be containing the property of a database and its values. So let's do one thing. Let's do a formatting that is called property underscore val format A50. I think this formatting is clear for you guys, right? Any questions there? Again, let me explain again. The thing is that here the variable character is 4000. Okay, that means if you are not formatting, Oracle is going to take for that particular column from your output, it is going to take 4000 characters. So which is not required for us. So what we are doing, we don't want the entire 40,000 or entire 4,000. What we are doing, we need only first 50 letters. So we are giving the command called the column name. That means we are specifying call for property underscore value format. FR stands for format, or you can just type format itself, and then A50. That means we are going to format this particular value with the 50 characters. So now we can just issue the command select property underscore name comma property underscore value from database underscore, just one second. We'll give set line size. Okay, so you can see that for a different properties of the database, there is a value. For example, here you can see that default temp table space is temp. Okay, the same way default permanent table space for the database is users. That means whenever I'm creating a user, it's always like prior to Oracle 9i, what you have to do that you have to specify the default table space as well as the default template table space for a user. Otherwise, the system table space was considered as the default template table space as well as the default table space for that user. But later Oracle added something called default temp table space, where in which the template table space, whatever being assigning as a default template table space, that is considered as a default template table space for that user. So even if you are omitting that temporary table space clause while creating the database, by default the temporary table space or default temporary table space of the database was being added as the default temporary table space for that user. In later versions from Oracle 10G onwards, Oracle added one more clause, that is the default permanent table space. So now let's do one thing. Let's try to create a user. Okay, so create user, new USR identified by new pass. That means a user, new USR has been created with a password new pass. Is this clear? Clear this much?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's see what is the password or what is the default temporary table space as well as the default table space for that user. So select default table space, comma temporary from DBA underscore usage Okay. So you can see that the user is being allocated with the default table spaces usage and temporary table space temp, because from the database properties, it's evident that the default permanent table space for that particular database is usage, and default temporary table space for that particular database is temp. Am I clear here?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's try to create a new temporary table space, and then we'll be associating the new user, or maybe we'll be associating, we'll be seeing how to change the existing user to the new table space, as well as how to create a new user with that particular temporary table space. So the temporary table space can be created by the command new temp file, I don't remember the path, so what I'll do that, select, I'll find out what's the current path. Select name from v dollar temp file. So the current temporary table space file is created on the prime/prime folder. So let me try to create a new temporary table space. Create temporary table space, new temp file, new temp 1.dbf, size 100 M. Is that clear? Create temporary table space name. Instead of, remember last time when we created, we have issued the command create table space name, data file. Here we are creating a temporary table space, so we are using the keyword temp file. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Table. Now let's see how much size this particular temp file is occupying. I'll just give the command. Okay, you can find out the temporary tablespace is occupied of as expected. It occupied the 100 MB of size. Okay, but when you're working with the previous versions of Oracle, like Oracle 10G and all, we must be a little bit cautious. You should be cautious there. The reason is that in previous versions of Oracle, when you are assigning a temp file, Oracle never used to allocate that much space. Okay, that what it means that say you created a temporary table space of 1 GB. Normally, Oracle in the previous version, that is version up to 10G, Oracle will not occupy that much 1 GB of size. Oracle will just use that space only very minimal space, and then that the allocated space of 1 GB will be used only when it is really required. For example, you create a temporary table space with a say 10 GB of size, but you have not never used that temporary table space. In that case, Oracle will not take that space from the operating system. So a common mistake which DBAs used to do is that say I check my space and I created a temporary table space of 10 GB. Okay, when I'm checking at the OS level, now I have a requirement for adding one more data file, or adding more space for the table space. At that time, naturally, I'll be checking my OS level by giving the df-h command or something. We'll find out whether a free space is available or not. But here what happens is that this 10 GB, even though we created temporary table space of 10 GB, Oracle didn't took that 10 GB, the total 10 GB from the operating system. So what happens is that it will give a false impression for us. Am I clear here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens is that the DBA will be thinking that okay, there is enough space is there, and he will be creating a data file of say another 10 GB. Now the thing is that now the temporary table space will be started using. At that time, the real issue is coming that there is no space for the temporary table space to grow further. Am I clear here?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the one of the mistakes which normally DBAs to do that one. So we were telling to the DBA team or DBAs what to do is that before you allocated any space from the from or before you allocate a data file for a particular partition or a particular file system, better you check any temporary table space or temp files are existing on that particular file system. If it is there, then find out the actual size from your db underscore temp underscore files, okay, or v$temp files. Find out the actual size, then reduce that much size from the operating system free space, consider and find out the remaining space, and then use that space for your further table space management, addition of the space, addition of the data file, or increasing the size of the data file, etc. Is that clear?
Yes.
Fine. Now, the next one is that say now we have the one temporary table space is there. We have a default database table space is there, or default permanent table space. Now we will be seeing how to create a user utilizing this new temporary table space. Okay. Now I'm going to create a user. Create user. New user. Okay. Identified by
You already created a user called new user, right? Will that
I think USR only I have given. Okay.
Oh.
Let's avoid that confusion. User 1. Okay, identified by pass. Okay, default table space usage, temporary table space temp, not temp, the new temp. The earlier one was new temp, if I'm not wrong, right? Yeah. Okay. So the command is here: create user username identified by the password. Default tablespace is usage. Temporary tablespace is temp. Now let's see the previous SQL and see what's happening. Fine. So the default tablespace is users, and temporary tablespace is the new temporary tablespace which we have assigned. So here the point here is that even though now if I'm just creating a user with the I mean without specifying the username and password, still the user will be created with the default temporary tablespace as at the database level. In our case, the default tablespace for the database is temp. So the new user will be created with the temporary tablespace as temp if the temporary tablespace clause is omitted during the user creation. Is that clear?
So can you alter it to, can you move the table space from default temporary table space to new temp even after you create the user?
Yeah. So for example, we'll do one thing. We'll move the user one to the all the temporary tables. I mean the default temporary table space of the database level. Okay. So alter user user one. Here I can give default temporary, or I can just give not default temporary temp. Fine. So let me just execute the select statement and confirm whether everything is gone fine. Is that okay?
Yep.
Now, the another exercise for you guys for today will be that how to change the default temporary tablespace for a database. Or you want me to show that in practical? It's up to you guys.
Can you repeat the question?
My question is that, say, now we have seen that how to change the default temporary tablespace for a user.
Right.
Now, my assignment will be that change, say, still the default temporary tablespace at the database level will be temp only.
Okay.
Okay. We can confirm that one by giving that the same old SQL. Even though you have created a new temporary table space, the default temporary table space at the database level is still temp only. Can you see that one? Default temp table space. My assignment will be that how to change the default temporary table space for the database.
Okay.
Or what are the precautions you should be taking before you make a attempt to resolve or change it. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are two things that you have to change. One is that default temporary table space at the database level, as well as the default permanent table space at the database level. The same way. I mean, if you are getting one answer to one of the question, definitely you will be getting the answer for the second question as well.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah. Okay. Now the next session we'll be seeing how to create one more undo table space. Okay. So undo table space we understood that undo table space will be containing the information which is required for the rollback. Okay. So the command to create an undo table space will be create undo table space new undo data file. Then the path of the data file. I'll take the same alt path so that everything will be on the same location. Undo or new undo 1.dpf size 100 MB. Any questions here, guys?
No.
Okay. Now the next assignment or the next question for you guys will be that, say, how to change the undo tablespace for the database. As I explained, the database got a default undo tablespace. So how to change the default undo tablespace for the database? Is that question clear? Or the method to change the undo tablespace at the database level.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah. Now, say as of now, what we have seen is that we have seen the default tablespace in Oracle 10G onwards. What happens is that Oracle is coming up with the two types of data files or two types of table spaces. One is at big file table spaces and other one is at small file table spaces. Where in which the small file table spaces is a concept where in which was Oracle was continuing from the previous versions onwards. Okay, where in which the table space will be or the a table space will be having a set of data files, and each data file got a limited size it can grow. Okay, so if you wanted to have a bigger table space, then you should be having n number of data files. But the problem with that is that when you're going with that more number of data files, always it's a confusing step, or it's a tedious job to manage that bigger number of data files. So what Oracle came up with in Oracle 10G onwards is that Oracle is giving an option to create a big file table space. Okay, in the case of a big file table space, the point here or the thing is that you can create a data file of huge size, but there is only one data file possible on a big file table space. So you can create a huge data file which will be holding a large number of data. If you wanted to have the specific number of the size of the data file, just give me a second, I'll give you that details.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a documentation which I took from the net. Okay. So here you can see that Oracle 10G, which is applicable for Oracle 11G also, a normal database can go up to, depends upon your database size. Okay. A data file can grow up to I'm not sure how to read this value, but you can say that a single data file can go up to 131,072 gigabytes if you are using a block size of 32K. Okay, here if you are looking at a single big file table space with a 32 KB of size. Okay, the maximum size for the database will be this value. Am I clear here?
Yeah. And it's only one single data file, right?
Here, no. Here what happens is there is a maximum data file size. This is a size of a single data file with a big file table space. Okay, but there is a limit of the number of data files a table space can hold. The maximum number of data files on Oracle 9 and Oracle 10 is 65536. Okay, so the size of the maximum size of the database can grow will be 65536 into the maximum number of a data file size.
Understood.
Fine. So based on that, if you are using the big file table space with a proper block size of or the highest block size, then you can store huge amount of data. maybe like I think it is known as the um, the maximum amount of data on a 32K block size for a database is 8 exabytes. That is some huge amount of data which normally it's not sufficient to it will be holding on to most of the bigger databases. So this is the advantage what we are having with the big file table spaces.
Just yeah, question. Anywhere I've seen this kind of application using so much of data.
I don't see really anybody. It's not like that application cannot grow this much. Applications, of course, they can grow, but the thing is that normally the applications will not be allowed to grow this much size. The reason is that when you're having this much huge amount of data, then think about all the situations like where in which you have to take a backup of the database, you have to maintain. The maintenance of the database will be very much difficult with this much huge size. It's only a possible value. Okay, it is not a real-time usage of this value, but real-time usage is that, for example, as I said, for a table space, if you are using a small file table space, there is a limit at which you can keep on adding the data file, and after that it will be kind of managing will be difficult for you. So what you can do is that you can use a big file table space, so that only one data file you have to manage instead of managing some more than 30 to 34 data files. You can use a single data file and manage or use that much space. But your question to an answer to your question, is there any big application which will be saying this much huge database? I don't think it will be really used, because managing that kind of databases will be really difficult.
Okay.
Any questions on this? Okay, fine. Yeah. In that case, what will? Okay. Now we'll see how to create a big file table space. So the step, the deviation from the existing command will be create big file table space, big TVS. The rest of the things will be same. Data file, spell mistake, create. Okay, so you can see that the difference between the normal table space or else known as a small file table space, the only the thing is that we have to use the clause big file before the table space clause. So create big file table space, big TBS data file, and now let's see how to add one more data file to the big file table space. Let's see what happens. Altern table space. Okay, so you are getting an error message that ORA32771 cannot add data file to a big file table space. Is that clear? Any questions here?
No, because there can be only one big file table space in the
big file table space can contain only one data file.
Okay.
Now, another, I have one more assignment for you guys. The thing is that in the table space management, there is a topic called the segment space management. Okay, there are two things. One is a segment space management, and the second one is that uniform database growth. So if somebody can make some R&D on that one and take a small presentation tomorrow, that will be great.
Okay.
Who's the volunteer?
What's the other one? Uniform?
Uniform database growth. There is a segment space management. In that segment space management, there will be two topics will be taken. One is the dictionary management, segment space management. Second is the automatic segment space management. There are two topics in that one, and also the database growth. That is a uniform database growth. So there are two topics. So if somebody can take volunteer and take a presentation, that will be great.